We are live.
We're live, son. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
What are you doing?
Uh, I was answering a lot of texts and got a lot of emails today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I finally broke the threshold.
Nice. You hit a
Gonna
1,000 subs.
gonna give away boom this nice knife here.
There you go.
There's gonna be a random drawing for now that I hit 1,000,
Mm-hmm.
and someone's gonna get this knife. Says city sticker on that side. It's a
Cool.
Kershaw knife, and it has the emblem for
Okay.
YouTube and my Instagram on it.
Nice.
So all anybody has to do is go in and sub me and find my 1,000 subscriber giveaway video and comment on it that they want in. They have to be subbed and they have to like the video.
There you go.
Boom!
We got some people on, son.
Oh, we got some people watching.
So
I thought I
people
was just
watching,
thought I was just talking to you.
Happy New Year, guys. This is
Hey, what's up,
this
peoples?
this is a regular thing that I'm doing once a month now. I did this a few years back, but I do it once a month now. Figured we do it today since we're at the end of the year. And you guys can actually call in. You don't have to call. I set it up that way. Some people like to call, some people do not. But you can also ask questions, and we'll answer your questions for you. Or if you have kind of like a more detailed, setup, you can actually call this number down below there, the 410-205-4643. Comes right to my cell phone. It'll be played over the air, and Chris will hear it, and we can both answer your questions. So feel free to call. If not, um, ask in the comments. We'll help you out. Food plots, habitat management, some goals you want to discuss leading into 2024. If you just want to talk about life, whatever you want to do, share it out with your friends. Get some people on, and we'll have fun tonight. So
You got one in the comments.
we got one.
Yep,
All right.
Daniel Wester.
Boom. So Daniel Wester, what's up, buddy? All my deer were out here in Texas till about a month ago, but even then, they were nocturnal. Now they come out. They won't come out at all. What is going on this year? Well, it wouldn't say what's going on this year. That's a typically an every year trend on most people's property. Honestly, it happens all the time. I mean, even it's going to happen even on the most manicured property. To be honest with you, it's just something that happens. Deer, they shift. Hunting season starts. The pressure's on. The deer shift, and it's just what they do. I mean, it happens a lot. Are there things you can do to minimize it? Sure. Limit hunting pressure. Have good unpressured food sources. Know where the deer are bedding. The closer you can get to the bedding, the more you can catch them in daylight hours. But like I said, it's something that's going to happen on the most manicured property. What do you think, Chris?
His food source might have changed too.
Mm-hmm.
Something might have been ripe and it's now not ripe. Something might have been digestible. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not digestible at this point. Whatever. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up, but I would just add that I think maybe the food source may have changed for that deer also.
Yeah, food sources are changing month by month throughout the year, and it really changes. It's hard to say what it is for sure, but the two biggest takeaways on that, I would say pressure and, like you said, like Chris said, food sources.
He said he's kind of new to this deer hunting thing. I don't know a lot about food plots. I have 50 acres, mostly open fields surrounded by wooded areas, which is perfect. Um, is there anything planted in those fields? Is there anything good in those fields, or is it just overgrown garbage? What is it, Daniel?
Hmm. Yeah,
If
I
it's
mean,
if it's overgrown garbage and you don't know how to plant a food plot, my best advice would be go in there and bush hog that bad boy. Let the sunshine get down to the earth, and let some of those fresh older get those old herbs and things that are the old seed bank. Let the sun hit them and let them grow up. Let that all that fresh growth come up nice and green flush, and you'll have some deer flocking to that 50 acres.
Hmm. Yeah, if you're new to food plots, both of us have tons of videos on kind of where to start, um, and that'll kind of lead you in the right direction. Uh, so that was for Daniel. What we got? Jerry, what's up, buddy? Happy New Year.
Hi,
Is
Jerry.
it too late in Kentucky to throw up a ground blind to crossbow hunt deer? And how close to bait pile? Kentucky is a baiting state. It's a good tactic to go through to do. It's not too late, as long as you can get it out there and brush it in. I have a really, really good video on my channel about if you search how to brush in a ground blind. The whole key with ground blinds is to make sure that thing is not detectable. The best thing you can do is like pine branches, cedar branches, to drape them over. It's a process to really get that thing to blend in. But the more you can hide it, the better off you're going to be, especially if you're wanting like a big buck. They cannot see that blind. Leave the windows down every single day. Don't close them when you're done. Leave it the way that you're going to hunt it. So how close to bait pile? I get it. I wouldn't be directly in front of it. So if the deer are coming out, say, in front of you and they're walking straight out, going to be looking dead at you, I would not set it up that way. Either set it off to the side, position your bait pile differently. But I would say 25 yards, 30 yards off of that bait pile should be fine. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I would suggest getting a very comfortable uh, distance away that you're comfortable shooting. A little further, the better. But what you're comfortable with. Throwing up a blind is like a red flag to deer. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do it, make sure it is brushed in well, like Dave said, and just be scent free as you can. Get in there and give her heck, man.
That's right. People see me write, I'm taking notes. I take notes when we do these for video ideas.
Mm.
Um, there are a couple more people join in. What's
Yeah,
up, guys? Happy New Year.
happy Mark St. Martin. Hello.
Yeah.
He has a
So
question. Says on a smaller acre parcel with an already established clover plot. For plot number 2, would you rather do a buckwheat brassica plot or another clover chicory no BS type plot on a
take it
small
away.
acre parcel with an already established clover plot? Okay, so he already has a good smaller clover plot, and he's
Wants to play the
asking,
second plot.
yeah, he's asking, what would you rather do to a second plot? Um, I don't know where he's at,
Kind of
but
need more info.
yeah, in the fall, buckwheat's not probably a good idea because frost will kill it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Clover and chicory, no BS type food plots are excellent. The no BS has a grain in it and a clover and a radish.
Oops.
So that being said, I and you're talking to me, I'm biased. I love no BS.
Mm-hmm.
I shoot so many does in no BS, it's just ridiculous. I am partial to it, so I do love that blend.
Mark's in
So
Wisconsin.
okay, he's in Wisconsin, so that's a cold area also. So yeah, buckwheat's not going to be a sure bet in the fall for
Mm-hmm.
you. But yeah, definitely you're on the right track there. A chicory, no BS type plot, yes, for sure.
Yeah, I would say on smaller acre like that, the a grain situation for your second plot would be ideal.
Right.
Clover chicory is going to kind of go dormant during the fall time when you need that food to be palatable
Yeah.
for the deer. You could use buckwheat for that season. Say you plant it in late August, September. The young tender leaves will be palatable, but they will go dormant very quickly as soon as it starts getting cold. So you'll kind of have that early season. So you could use that maybe and then broadcast no BS into it, or you can even go a straight, you know, winter wheat or winter rye plot. I mean, those grains are going to be
Yeah.
very powerful.
I love the
Um,
grains.
yeah, for you over there in Wisconsin for
And then
sure.
you're gonna have the clover and the grains first thing green up in the spring.
Yeah.
It'll
Mhm.
it'll carry over. You'll get your clover back and some of your grains.
Yep.
Yep. Daniel was just answering that he had hay fields. So yeah, Daniel, I'd go in there if you're allowed, if you own it or whatever. I'd just do a little bit of mowing,
Hmm.
let that fresh stuff flush up.
Thanks, bro. Definitely calling you for advice.
Yeah.
What we got? JJ, go ahead and read it.
I don't see it. Where's it at?
It's on the screen.
Oh, I didn't scroll down. Walking in woods today that was logged about 13 years ago. Still a lot of high tree canopy shading out ground. Okay. You think better to go in hinge cut or have logger come in to try to thicken up woods?
I would say if it was logged 13 years ago and you still have that canopy, really the hinge cutting, it's going to depend on what type of trees you still have left. If they're really large trees, then most likely you're going to have them cut to get enough sun in there. Because if you go to start hinge cutting and you still have that large tree canopy above, those hinge cuts will die because they're not getting sun. So it really, you need to know what kind of, how much big diameter the trees are and what kind of trees you have. Some TSI work, could be in your future, or like you said, getting a logger in. It just really depends. Really, when you do like a logging situation, you really need to shoot for like maybe 40 to 50% canopy opening up. That'll allow enough sunlight to get to that forest floor. That's Wisconsin, so we did that.
Yeah, Mark was in
I
Wisconsin.
meant buckwheat in summer, Nebraska in fall. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah. Just
Yeah,
keep in mind that buckwheat's a very short growing crop. It
yeah,
loves the
you're only,
heat. 50, 60 days, it's going to start to
yeah.
seed head out. So keep that in mind in preparation of planning your brassica plot.
There's Scotty Flaker. Scotty Flaker won a giveaway when me and Ted was live from Off the
Okay.
Hook. Yeah,
What's up, Scotty?
he won the Limit Shield package off of what
Nice.
when Philip was giving away.
Okay.
What's it
I
say?
appreciate both your channels and the lead to Off the Hook receiving winning package of a limit shield with guests
Yeah,
of two. Love the stuff. How long after cutting trees for deer browse and cover? Well, Scotty, depending if those cut trees have sunlight, they got to have sunlight to regenerate. You're looking at, so if you cut, say, in the winter of 2024, by fall you should have some browse shooting out. But the following spring is really, you'll see the real benefit of that. So it's a little bit of a process, um, but it just takes a little time. You got to have that sunlight hitting those, you know, cut hitting those cuts. Perry, can you elaborate on any difference between Antler Grow versus the foiler feeding product from Domain? If you prefer, I understand. Somebody asked me this question. Might have been a week ago or something. I had this long, detailed thing on it. So the difference is, I don't really know right now because
yeah. It needs tested more.
yeah. So my explanation was last, or no, I should say this summer, I did testing on tissue analysis. I sprayed Antler Grow and I sprayed the liquid courage. When I did my tissue analysis, I think I did something wrong because it was really weird the way the analysis came out. I paid for it. I sent it out. I can't think of the company I sent it to, but it was really weird. So at this point, I don't know. But what I can tell you is I had two clover plots, one on this side of the road, one on the other side of the road. I had sprayed one half of the one side with liquid courage. I sprayed one half of the other side with antler grow. All the deer hit both sides that were sprayed more compared to the sides that were not sprayed. I seen both growth on both sides. So I can't say
And
which one's.
preferable, a lot of more green up too. Correct.
Yeah, I had more green up. I sent you pictures of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only real way to tell right now was the browse pressure of where the deer were feeding but the only true way to know is through a tissue sample. So this spring, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be spraying regular browse and food plots. My mess up was, I believe that when I sprayed it and gathered the samples, they sat in the bag too long before I sent it in. I think that was because it sat in the bags for quite almost a week before I sent it in. And I don't know if that deteriorated. I don't know. So that's my testing. That's the difference that I can tell you right now.
Here's Josh Bryson.
Josh Bryson. Hey, Dave. Chris.
That's Josh.
Can you see the comments on the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I just had to scroll with them.
No, I mean on the actual screen, not the comment section.
Down below in the ticker, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see.
So, Greg, for bucks that have been growing up on your property, will they become more sensitive to box blinds as they age and become to avoid them? Yes, they will.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
They can become accustomed to them, but the thing is, if that box blind is on a food plot and you're in there and you're shooting guns out into that plot and you're constantly spooking the deer away, I think it's going to have a ripple effect into your property and actually make it worse. They're always going to be a little sensitive to it. Now, if you pick and choose your days you hunt it, you're limited, you may shoot one good buck out of it a year or something, the blind's very hidden, the deer don't see you going to it, then I think they can become a little bit of accustomed to it.
I was going to just add that, like you said, first of all, you don't really want a box blind right on the edge of a field because your entrance and exit is very important in that situation. If you're blowing deer out coming into your blind, or you're blowing deer out leaving your blind, they will get used to that foot traffic and avoid that. Now, if you're in the woods, you're properly, oh boy, I just lost it. Camouflaged your blind. What was you said? Brushed it in. If you properly brushed in your blind, you don't make a bunch of noise and things, and you can exit and enter without being disturbing the deer. I think that could be to your advantage. But if you're doing the opposite, yeah, they'll get used to that and avoid you for sure.
Well, look what we did at the old farm. We have a video on that. Where we set that box blind up, we tucked it off the field into some pines, and it worked very well. Yep. So,
we also had an example where it was a pop-up blind though, and we had it in the Egyptian wheat screening.
Yeah,
and we cut out a section, put it in there, brushed in the face of it, and that was great. Deer were walking right by us, literally 5-8 yards.
Yeah, it was close.
But you went home for the week. I went home for the week. I came back the next Saturday, and the snow had caved it in, and they had gotten used to that not being there now. I came back that Saturday to hunt, and I popped that blind up, and every deer that entered that field looked straight at that blind and would not come. Yeah, I would have never been able to make an archery shot, but good thing it was rifle season.
Yeah, they're leery.
I was able to shoot
one.
Stuff. Yeah. I was able to get one, but
they're leery with it. When
they looked for it.
Yeah, it's got to be hidden.
Yeah, they knew that it was down and gone out of their sight. And when I popped the snow off of it and popped it back up and got in it, every deer that came looked.
Well, when I go to consulting clients, one of the biggest things is they'll have a food plot, and that blind will be right in the middle of it, right in the middle. And the very first thing is pull that blind out, and it's going to have to be off to the side. And it's like them things have to be hidden. The same with ground blinds, like we discussed earlier. Greg, regarding JJ's question, will all properties sticking up with browse if logged and open up to the canopy? Yes.
Sure.
So some's going to take longer than others, depending the amount of
pop up though.
Depending on the leaf litter you have on the ground and how much sunlight you have. The more sunlight, the faster things will thicken up. The less sunlight that's opened up, the longer it's going to take. But yes, something's going to regenerate.
If
Be careful with that though. Is you know, keep in mind if you're doing clear cuts or having select cuts, you're going to get a lot of regeneration, and it's going to have to be maintained. In 6, 7, 8 years,
some
it's
of
going to
it's
be,
not going to be desirable.
yeah, some of it's going to be so thick. It's best to take a brush hog or something and just you know refresh, start from the beginning. By the way, happy New Year! Happy
Happy
New
New Year,
Year!
Greg.
Thanks, guys. Most trees
JJ,
left are mature. Oh, they're mature beech
yeah,
and maple. So
I would not take out the beach.
yeah, so I was going to say have a balance of beech because they're good for hanging
Oh,
stands. The
they're
leaves
great.
stay on for a long time. The maples, they're very good with regeneration. On browse, they can be hinge cut and flush cut. And those stumps will resprout. You hinge cut them, they will flourish. Um, but the beech trees, so I have a client in Kentucky that I go to every year. It's an outfitter. I'm going up there again this year, or I should say next year. And my project is working on beech trees because the beech trees are so mature. They choke out everything. They shade out the entire property. I mean, it's hundreds of acres. And I go there, and my job is to cut the beech trees because it just it shades everything out.
Hmm.
So it has to be about. I'm not cutting every single one. I'm basically taking out the larger ones, and some other, working on some other things, but has to be a balance of it.
I love the beech trees though because not only do the deer eat them, the turkey eat them, but the bears love them.
What's that?
The beech
The
nuts.
beach? Yeah.
Yep,
Nope.
yep. Greg's just reiterating that none of those blinds are on the food plots.
Oh, that's good then. So if they're not on the food plots, just worry about what Chris said with your entry and exit. Be careful of that, and don't overpressure it. Try not to shoot too many deer out of it, and they can be, they can get accustomed to it for sure. It might take a couple years, like you said, having the deer grow up on it, but it can definitely work. Copy, and thank you very much for providing the content you do for us common folks who have jobs and keeping it basic and real. Happy New Year, gents. No problem, Barry.
Yeah, Perry, you're welcome.
Yep.
Yep, Blake. At what point during hunting season is chicory valuable as a food plot crop? I can only plant half acre in a mostly big wooded area. I have been planting heavy rates of rye oats with real good results. Chicory is valuable in a food plot all year. It's highly desirable. Um, I have an issue growing it here because it is so desirable. They wipe me out.
They chew it down to the ground.
They wipe me out, man. Uh, yeah, but a half acre of that would be great. Um, I can only plant half acre in mostly big woods area. Okay, in a big woods area, you're going to have plenty of sunlight. Don't forget
Hmm.
that. And generally, wooded areas are very low in pH. So do not skip your soil test. Figure that out, amend that, get your lime in there, see what fertilizer you need, do your plantings. Um,
I don't think he meant the food plot was in the woods. I think he means that he's just in a big wooded area,
oh,
no, like no ag or whatever.
well, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Um, I've been planting heavy rates of rye oats with real good results. Yeah, yeah, we like a grain and an oat. Around here, though, the oats are dead come first big frost, about the third, fourth week of October. So if you're in a cold climate, um, oats will be a nice nurse crop for a while, and then when you get frosted, why they'll be gone. But rye always has an attraction in the wintertime, especially if there's nothing else around, and it'll be the first thing to green up in the spring.
I just had to ban somebody.
Uh-oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah. That was a weird comment.
Hmm.
Um, where's your thoughts? Oh God, here we go. I'm getting spammed here. Ban this dude too. Did you see that comment?
Nah,
That's two people we had to ban.
not even reading that crap.
goofy. So yeah, I think we got everybody's question at this point.
So far, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like we got some more people joined in. So um, we're doing like I said, we're doing once a month live streams. Feel free to call or comment, and we will help you guys out.
Scotty wants to know, you can get that next comment. Scotty wants to know, cutting large canopy trees every 50 feet. What do you suggest for good sunlight?
What is going on?
Well, if nothing else, you need good filtered sunlight at the least. You need 3 or 4 hours of good filtered sunlight at least to get the right photosynthesis. So, Dave, what do you got? A good attraction to people here, or what?
You see this stuff?
I know. What is it?
What is going on? I'm blocking away, man. What is this?
I'm I'm cracking up over here. If nothing else,
This
I'm getting a rise out of this stuff.
that's 6 people I had to ban so far.
That's
What is going
hilarious.
on?
Where are they coming from?
Cutting. I don't know. Somebody banning them is not a good idea. Somebody must have shared us into some kind of weird group
Right.
or something.
That's hilarious.
Cutting large canopy trees every 50 foot. What do you suggest for good sunlight?
I mean,
Yeah,
I can't suggest anything because I mean that would be a logger's idea. You
yeah. I
know,
mean, if
they
you're
have
yeah.
ways of gauging that.
hmm the biggest thing is to just look up. You know, if you can see sunlight and openings, then it's good. Every 50 feet, well, depends what kind of tree it is, how big the tree is, um, and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, whatever you got to cut, I wouldn't leave it as say, hey, every 50 feet. I would just look at it as a sunlight perspective. Look up and see. Look up. Do you see shade branches? Do you see the sky? Whatever it is, but don't gauge it by foot. Just gauge it by physically standing there looking up, and if you see sunlight or if you don't see sunlight or sky. What trees do you recommend for screening? If you're planting trees, any kind of conifer would work, spaced out, double rows. Um, You can even do. I really don't like switchgrass for screening. It's very thin sometimes. You have to plant it really wide to get a screening. And if you do plant those conifer trees, you could also incorporate like a screen of Egyptian wheat just to kind of get you going until those trees actually grow. Trees take a long time. I mean, for trees to become an actual screen, I mean, you're talking 4, 5, 6 years of any kind of appreciable screening.
Agreed.
We get everybody's kind
I
of.
think so. So far, yeah. I mean, actually, as a tree, actual trees probably wouldn't be that great of a screening anyhow.
I think if they're double road staggered,
Well, think about when they drop their leaves, though. I mean,
it
then
kind of they're not
it's no screen at all. Then
conifers
you
don't
know
drop.
conifers won't drop, so you want to do something that's evergreen or something.
hmm
But I meant actual trees.
No, you don't want to plant a tree
I
like
mean,
a regular
beech
tree.
beech and birch will hold on to those little orange leaves a lot, but you're still, you're going to see through them like slashings.
Okay, I think we got everybody here.
Okay,
Oh,
Perry has something now.
Perry, have y'all done a consulting property that's pine timber farm? And by the way, I'm in a hunting club. I have, yeah. I did several of them last year. I did one in Virginia, um, Kentucky, and one in Maryland last year, I believe. Yeah, but pines, Pines aren't really, deer habitat really. I mean, most pine farms are shaded out. They're planted in rows too thick. Um, there's no sun hitting the ground, and they need to be thinned. What in the what?
Where's the feces, Dave?
Why?
I don't know. They like feces.
This is I'm just banning away.
Go ahead, ban away. Okay,
Spooky, man.
Blake says,
Hold
will
on,
annual
spooky.
clovers such as crimson and frosty berseem really put on enough growth when planted in the fall for a decent fall food plot? I mean, they take time to establish, but your best time to establish is the fall because your
Hmm.
second year is always your best year for clover. So yeah, you will be better off establishing your clover. Now, you're saying annual clovers now. Some of them are biannual, some of them are just annual. So if you're just putting a regular annual in, you may want to start that a little earlier than late fall.
Hmm. Well, typically on the annuals, man, this is spooky. They if you plant them in the fall, it's good. They're very good for attraction. And then the annuals, their job is to develop one seed head. Once that seed head is developed, they're dead. They're not, you can't mow them and they're going to come back or whatever. But yeah, if you plant it early enough in the fall, you will get enough. They'll get up 4 or 5 inches. They'll be very palatable. And then the following year, they're going to seed out and it'll be very, very good green manure to kind of work back into the soil if you're looking to build up, organic matter and, your CEC and all that good stuff. Perry, I'm not, yeah. People suck with these questions.
People do suck.
These, what is up with that? Somebody shared us in
They
some kind of,
shared you into some kind of sex site
yeah,
or something.
spooky.
Sick sex site if they're talking feces.
Man, never had that before. But yeah, so appreciate everybody's comment. If you guys have any more questions, give us a shout. Let us know.
How many we got in here?
What questions?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How many people watching? I mean,
17. Yeah. So, Chris, we see your knife. We see your knife.
get over and subscribe. They can get a chance at it.
Don't cut yourself.
They can get a chance at this knife if they subscribe to the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Get over there on the video and like and comment.
What kind of trees do you cut at your house to open up that sunlight?
I've got a lot of cherries that I took down. They were just a lot of crooked stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I hacked and squirted
Mm.
a couple years ago, and they're finally taking a root, I guess, to that herbicide I put in there.
Nice.
Yeah, a couple of them were totally dead now, so I cut them down, and then I had a couple live ones that they're just 8 or 10 inches round, big and bushy on top, blocking sunlight. So I took some of them down. I've got a couple more that I need help with. I'll have to get down to. Josh Bryson wants to know if us guys are tagged out yet. I am. I am tagged out. I was able to use a tag in Maryland for Sika deer. I was able to use a Pennsylvania buck tag with a rifle.
Killed my Sika.
I was able to go to New York and tag a small buck there. It was actually a spike, but they don't have antler restrictions. So I was able to get 3 different antlered critters, and I had a couple of does that I shot, one with a bow, one with a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 5 critters this year. Dave's still on the search.
I'm done, man. My season's over.
He's quitting.
I quit. I got my season's taken off with consulting, so I don't have time to hunt no more.
But that's what happens sometimes. I mean, when you are looking for a decent animal, or if you see a bunch of animals that don't tickle your fancy, and you pass them, you may have to eat tags now and then.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, a lot of people shoot a deer just to shoot a deer.
yeah,
This year I was very selective, and I just did not catch up with one that I wanted to shoot. But I got a video coming out Monday. It's a cool video coming out Monday. I did a lot of observation stuff this year on public land, and I got a good video coming out Monday for that.
yeah. I mean,
Finding.
like you said, some people just shoot them to shoot them, but I have I keep a couple to fill my freezer, and then uh, I have some relatives that don't hunt,
Mhm.
so
Well,
usually,
I took TJ hunting this year. He shot his first buck, and I shot a doe just to get some meat for the freezer. Um, but yeah.
yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm done. Dave's done by default. He's going to be busy soon.
Hmm.
What do you got going on, Josh? I see people still planting stuff down south.
Yeah,
Man,
you can over.
I would be I would be broke if I could still be planting. Between all the fertilizers and lime and fuel,
Imagine, imagine
I'd
living
be
down
broke.
deep down in South Florida, being able to plant 10 months out of the year, 11 months
J-
out of the year.
Josh is down in Georgia. He's probably down. He could probably plant.
No, not right now.
He could probably plant and keep stuff growing green for 10 months. I bet.
Do you both trap yotes and coons on hunting properties? Is it worth it? Do you do more come back in? Yeah, so that's a thing. So I don't trap. I think people should trap. But it's one of them things, man. It's just like hogs. you know, if you if you have a property and you trap a bunch of hogs, they will wear you out. If all your neighbors and their neighbors and then their neighbors and their neighbors aren't trapping, your efforts are pretty worthless. Coyotes, obviously, they're not going to be. There's not as many as them as there's hogs. They hogs have what three litters a year.
At least.
Um, Coyotes, I'm not sure about, but it's one of them things, man. Like you shoot one coyote, you're not doing anything. More are just going to come in. Your neighbors need to do it. Obviously, I don't think you should pass one up if you see it. But it's one of them things. Effort. Your neighbors need to pitch in, and it can make a real impact.
I do not trap, but any chance I get to shoot a coyote, I will.
Hmm.
Um,
You shot one last year.
yeah, I got one last year.
I don't have time to trap.
No, it interests me. It really does. Like I've actually subscribed to other YouTube channels that trap because it does interest me. I like to watch it, but uh, I just can't get into that. I with my work schedule, I can't be checking traps as often as you need to.
Hmm.
That type of thing. Joseph Audie.
I grew corn for the first time this year. I broadcasted it way too thick. Not sure the deer can even get into it. Should I leave it alone or cut it? Do you think they'll eat it over the winter? Yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is mow it down.
Yeah,
You can mow it down, run it over with a four wheeler. Now, be careful with that though, because depending what state you're in, some of
yeah,
those states it's illegal to mow down the freaking corn. You can plant it, you can hunt over it, but if you mow it down or bush hog it, it's illegal.
yeah.
I,
Because
I,
it's throwing
yeah,
kernels everywhere, and
yeah,
it's called bait at that
you're right,
point.
right. So that's up to you. But yeah, if you do cut it, mow it down, 100% they will eat it. Broadcasting corn is not really a efficient way to plant corn. I mean, you can get some stalks, but some ears, but
Yeah,
it's
I
not
did it.
really.
I did well at it. I mean,
Yeah, it's going to have to be thin.
I've got a video, Joseph. If you look, I have. It's called "Broadcasting Corn Experiment," and you can go check that out. I show you step by step how I did it, and it turned out okay, but not the ultimate.
Yeah, it's not the preferred way to do
No.
it for optimal results, but it can be done.
Best way to get deer to move through a 5-acre section of land more frequently.
Ooh,
Attraction.
food, food.
The way to
Maybe,
their belly is their happiness.
yeah, maybe a little bit of cover. I don't know what your woods look like, what you're surrounded by. Very, very low pressure food. Um, and if you maybe thicken it up, I don't know if you got fields, if it's all woods. But if you're standing there and you can see straight through your 5 acres, they don't want to be there. It's got to be thickened up. Get some more sunlight in there, thicken it up a little bit, maybe clear out an area for a little food plot.
Yeah.
Um,
I have the ultimate down here below the
yeah.
house
Hmm.
where I only own 3 acres and the house sits on one of them. So I have 2 acres of woods and it's thin and long like football field. And I have some shot plots down there, and every year I kill a doe.
Hmm.
So yeah, just getting some sunlight to the ground and planting something that they prefer. You don't have to keep them on your property. They just need to cross through there and stop and nibble. Give you
Yeah.
long enough time to get a shot.
Yeah, you're not going to keep deer on 5 acres, but if you can get
No.
them to come in there to
Yep.
stop for a couple minutes to take a bite or something and make them more, feel more secure to get in there. But the best gauge or judge is to stand there, look at your property, stand there, look through it. You can see all the way through it or see, a couple hundred yards or whatever. It's not any good. It's got to be thickened up, and they will be in there more for sure. Never thought of that. I live in New York, so I'm sure it's probably is. I know in PA,
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure because I called the DNR about it, and they said yes. If you have a cornfield that you planted that you can hunt over it, but as soon as you mow it down, it's illegal. It makes no sense. It's dumb, but that's what
Yeah.
it is. Thoughts on no glow trail cameras versus low glow? I have both, Greg. It makes a difference, I think. I mean, because all those cameras, they see that red flash. And if you see deer, if you run enough trail cameras, those deer look at those cameras. And cell cams make a clicking noise. Some of the older ones were really loud. They click, the deer close by, they hear those cameras. So I think sometimes cameras can be detrimental. If you can afford, low no glow is the way to go. Low glow, I think, is better. But no glow, 100%, you should go no glow.
Yeah.
I have
I don't have a whole lot of experience with that, so your
I've
answer is better than mine.
I've owned almost every trail camera brand there is. I'm very familiar with trail cameras. I run over 35 cell cams a year at any given time, plus regular video cameras. So if you can go no glow, it's the way to go.
Yeah, I don't know what my cameras are, but I've bought one brand of camera and I've been running them for years.
I
They
think
work for
yours are
me.
just standard glow. You
Yeah.
hang yours high though too,
Yeah, I
so
do hang them high, so
they're not going
they
to see
really.
that.
Yeah.
All woods is thick, starting to try to feed and want to put in a plot in the spring. Just wanted to get them to move through. Yeah, if
Sure.
you're thick like that, if so you have the cover, maybe do a little bit of a, depending on the timber, a little bit of a hinge cutting just to get some woody browse a little bit. But if you can clear an area out to get some food, I don't think he said what state he's in, but if you can clear out an area, a little quarter acre, something, eighth acre, um, get some grains in there, some winter wheat, winter rye, maybe even a little bit of some clover or something. That'll get them to stop in there, try to position that food in an area that is easy to get to. You're not walking through any kind of bedding areas. It's easy to get out, and all that stuff. So just keep in mind entry, exit, safety, security, position that plot, where you can that makes sense. But I think that would be some good options.
Yeah, he followed it up and said thank you
Okay,
already.
cool. Here's Mr. Bryson.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
Josh.
this summer to try and cow peas and lab if I can find it. But would you put a little, I guess you
Sorghum.
mean sorghum, in it to run up And if so, how many pounds per acre? You can, yeah. I wouldn't use sorghum. I would actually use sunflowers. Um, Throw some sunflowers in there. Keep them light though. I would do like maybe 3 pounds of sunflowers per acre, something like that. 4 pounds. Um, Keep it a little low because you want the volume of the cowpeas and lab and the sunflowers. The deer are going to probably eat the lower leaves off of them, but you get them to grow. It's a very cool plot to look at when you get the sunflowers to grow.
Yeah,
Very
they're
cool to look at.
nice to look at,
Yeah, very cool.
and they will
And
climb.
oh yeah, they'll climb. And then when you go to plant your fall plot, man, those heads on those sunflowers are just so much organic matter, and the stalks, they get very thick and they're just very, very
Bees,
good.
lots of
Bees,
bees.
yeah, bees, and just I like to plant the sunflowers just to look at them.
Yeah, I wish I could get them to grow here, but the
Yeah,
deer, I got too many deer. They just pick them off.
mhm.
They get 3, 4 inches out of the ground, they're gone.
Yeah, they're so cool to look at.
Yeah,
I'll
they
never
make.
forget the
We
first time
made
I
such a nice plot.
yeah, I'll never forget. That was the first time planting them. I guess that was like 6 years ago, and man, it was just so cool.
Yeah, but we got a lot of hate mail over that
We
because
did.
we disked them back in, Josh.
Mhm.
Put them back in the ground for green manure,
Yeah, and
and
everybody's
we got
like,
all kind of hate mail. Why did
yeah,
you do that? Those
yeah,
were beautiful.
they're for the birds.
You're
Well, we're not
ruining the birds and the bees.
right. We're not planting them for birds. We're planting them for deer hunting. We're planting them to improve the soil. That was the first year on the property. And you know what? That where we planted those sunflowers
Hmm.
over the next couple years,
It
that
hardly ever needed too much lime,
no, and fertilizer either. There was a
right?
point where I planted sunflowers in there. I did not have to add any fertilizer for like 2 years because it was so nutrient rich. That was the best plot on the whole farm
Mhm.
because of them sunflowers.
Except when we put straight rye in there. Remember,
Yeah,
we did a
yeah,
test, Josh. We put straight rye in that plot, and we put
mhm,
winter wheat in front of the box blind, and they would walk through the winter rye and go eat the sweeter winter wheat.
yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
all of them, but
Not all of, but
most of the foot
majority.
traffic came
Yeah,
through there. Yeah,
yeah,
it was a good test.
yeah. There's like there's a stage on grains, and like you have like winter rye down here. Next step up be winter wheat. Next step up above that would be oats. Oats would be the most palatable out of three. Wheat would be in the middle. Rye would be at the bottom. But each one has a place. They will eat rye. It's just each one like oats. You don't want to plant in very very cold climates because they're going to frost out. They're good for like a nurse crop in the spring or maybe early fall, and they frost out. But kind of winter wheat and rye is that very cold tolerant. But then you have you know palatability stages.
Yeah, mix them all together and have a good diversity.
Yeah, we did that too.
Hmm.
We've done it all, man.
We've done it all,
Well, I don't want to say that.
except for Lab. We never planted no
Remember,
lab.
remember that video, the trespasser?
Yeah, the trespasser. He thought that was
Go
lab.
ahead and read that.
Perry Bowers, he says, I'm in Texas and used Hall Pass this fall on a logging road, and it's still providing very well. Being in the pine timber, I probably should move closer to the hardwood creek bottom. Excuse me.
Chris is dying.
What's your thoughts?
I planted Hall Pass as well.
Hall Pass is good.
Yeah, I planted that. It came up, and actually, I'm still getting trail camera pictures, and as green could be. But he's saying being in pine timber, I probably should move closer to hardwoods creek bottom. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
wherever the deer are bedding at, they're
I was,
probably not bedding in the
I was gonna say
pines.
unless it's real cold and they're in there for thermal cover, but you're in
Right.
Texas, so I'm doubting it. I mean, it does get cold in Texas, some of the spots, but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I would be closer to hardwood creek bottom, sure.
Yeah, for sure. I like those creek bottoms. Get some them deer love them creek bottoms,
Oh
hardwoods
yeah,
and
oh yeah.
ditch
They
crossings
they get
and all that.
sneaky down in there,
Oh,
avoid you.
yeah, they get freaky down in there in
They
them
get
creek
freaky
bottoms.
down there. They
Yeah,
avoid.
We got 25 people on, guys.
25 people. Get some questions asked. Somebody call in. Get
Yeah,
on that phone number at the bottom of the ticker.
I'm surprised somebody
410-205-4643. Call Dave.
called Dave. I'm surprised somebody called this time. I had so when I first did that, when I put out the live stream, there were so many people that called, and then all of a sudden nobody called anymore because they were like shy. They don't want to call
Yeah.
and talk to you over the air. And I had some guys say last time we did this last month, we had a couple callers, and I had some people send me messages or whatever after the live stream. They're like, "Man, I feel weird calling in, and I don't want to call." So that's what
Yeah.
a lot of people just ask questions.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough. My oats will last all. Yeah, where you're at in
That's
Georgia,
sweet.
there they
That's sweet.
that's a yeah, good stuff. Just ordered 3 containers of hot chick for Heidi Hole frost seeding. Is it too early to frost seed? Yes, it is.
I would hold
Little,
off.
yeah, a
Depends on
little
where
too
he's
early.
at too, but yeah, I would
Yeah,
hold off.
it's too early. We're gonna have some podcasts for everybody listening. We have a podcast. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify apps, or whatever your audio
Whatever
preferred
listening
platform
platform you
is.
prefer. Yeah.
It's on there. So we have, I
Or you
think
can
we
watch it
50.
on my channel.
Yep, we have 53 episodes on there now, and we produce them every week. They come out Sundays at 5 p.m. Video version on Chris's channel, and then the audio on all the other platforms. But we have some podcasts on frost seeding from this previous year, and then once we get into like
When it
mid to
gets
end,
closer, yeah, we'll start.
yeah,
We'll
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 start
hit
having
on that.
podcasts. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have videos on my YouTube channel about it as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Time to start over on my 1 acre clover plot. Should I spray it or plow it? Also, would you do the entire acres in clover or mix it up? My opinion on that is you would have to assess it. How bad is it in weeds? Oh no, he's taking his clover plot and starting over.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like he's gonna
yeah, so if you
terminate.
clover is very hard to kill.
Sure is.
You can spray that stuff and it just lives through the torture. But you can, if you disc it under, it's going to come back. Like it's hard to get rid of. And I would try to turn it over, and then replant because you're still going to get some residual clover to come back through. It's hard. It's once you plant clover, it's hard to get rid of. It's just it goes through the torture
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah. I personally, I what I do is I run a disc through it, scratch it all up again, and then I seed into it.
Mm-hmm.
Get that soil contact with the seed.
I throw some bombshell in my oats too.
For sure.
Bombshell.
Bombshell's great.
I planted that last year. Yeah, last year.
Get them hybrid brassicas going, man.
What podcast do you listen to? Do you listen to any podcasts?
Just this week I started listening to a couple some people mentioned to me. I don't normally do that, but I was off on vacation this week and I did listen to a hunter podcast and a guy named Bo.
Mm.
Bo. I would butcher his name if I said it. But yeah, I listened to those two this week just for something to do while I was off. And some of it was interesting.
The only real podcast that I listen to is Joe Rogan. A lot of these podcasts, man, they're
Oh,
just
he's big into hunting.
he is, yeah. That's why I listen to him. And he's
Yeah,
got good stuff on there too. But I've always watched him from UFC days. But like other podcasts and stuff about hunting, man, there's so many freaking ads. I just can't listen to it because it's annoying. Like get to it.
yeah.
There's no ads on our podcast. Like I would
No.
never
See,
do
and
that.
that's what ate me alive this week listening to these guys. Between the ads, and they were 3 hour long podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're not laid off or on vacation like I was, I set the speed to 2 times
Mm-hmm.
and listen to them. They sound like Mickey Mouse talking, but it's the only way I could get through it, man. I can't sit there for 3 hours listening to a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yeah, some of them are just like the whole podcast is a sales pitch, and just like there's very little information. It's a hunting podcast. There's very little hunting info. It's all, not all of them, but like majority of them. That's just how they are. I mean, I get it. I mean, the guys got to make money and they got to have ads, and
Well, a lot of them are just interviews,
yeah, they're interviews too.
you know,
But I'd literally stop listening to all of that, and I don't really listen to anything other than Joe Rogan.
informational stuff's a little nicer. You actually glean something from it.
Yeah, from Darren. Thanks. I'm in West Virginia, and I thought I should have put the state in the question in my frost eating. Oh, okay. So he's in West Virginia.
He's in
I'm
West
actually
Virginia.
going to
Yeah,
West Virginia
definitely
this
wait
week. I'm
to
going to West
frost.
Virginia this week consulting. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to wait. That's a
Towards the end of March
yeah.
is a good time,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the weather. That's all I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you. You have to
Don't do
watch
it when there's snow on the ground.
Yeah, people are into this snow seeding. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till the ground's bare and it's freezing and thawing. And Dave loves when I say the dirt is heaving.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's freezing at night and it's thawing in the day and it heaves and then it freezes again and it sucks that seed down when it's heaving.
Wait,
Dave.
yeah, heaving. Say rhododendron. Rhododendron.
Rhododendron.
Yeah, say it 3 times fast.
Rhododendron.
The difference though would like answer that frost eating thing too is like some people do it really early, but the problem with that is the longer it sits there, the longer it is that birds and stuff are going to peck the seed away. Turkeys,
Or has
birds.
time to sit underwater and rot.
Right,
You know?
exactly. It gets sometimes it'll get too deep too. And if it gets too deep, it's not going to germinate. So it's best to just wait. You can do it, if you have a day where you have some snow that's actually melting, that would be a good time. But if you have a couple inches of snow and you're in the cold digits and you're not getting those freeze thaw situations,
Where it's
don't do it.
heaving.
Yeah, where it's heaving, as Chris would say, don't do it. Just save your time and save your money because it's not going to have good results.
I think Joseph Audie wants to add to his above comments that he has Creeping Charlie in those plots that he's going to start over.
Okay.
And what I would suggest to you on that is when you're spraying herbicide, it needs to be 50 degrees or more at night now.
Mm-hmm.
It could be warmer during the day, but don't spray it unless you're above 50 at night temperatures. That's going to be your optimal usage of your herbicide. So you may have to wait till May or June to eliminate that totally before you start over,
Mm-hmm.
which would give you a good fall plot anyhow. So no worries.
I can't remember the chemical you use on clover to kill weeds, but not clover. Will it kill the chicory and hot chick? And also, it's under my apple trees. Do you think it would hurt the apples? You're talking about IMOX.
IMOX.
Yeah, IMOX is the good stuff. No, it won't kill your chicory. Apple trees, don't spray it on there. But if you spray it around it, it should be fine. But the magic chemical for clover is that IMOX, man. IMOX. You still got some left over?
I do.
Yeah,
I do, and I just had someone text me the other day and say, "Hey, give me a link to that IMOX."
Mm-hmm.
So I sent someone a link.
Any books in the future from either of you? No,
I'm not smart enough to write.
No, I'm not either. But I'm not at that stage yet. My focus is is consulting, videos, YouTube, podcast. I have a website I write articles on. That's about the extent of it. Books, sure. I'm only 39 years old. When I get 50, and I'll probably, there's a potential, but no books for me right now. I have articles. I have over 700 videos on YouTube. and all that good stuff.
I would probably be writing books on welding.
Yeah. I love putting your podcast on while I'm working my plots. Heck yeah.
That's a good time waster, huh, Josh?
Yeah. Waste his time. Listening to you blah, blah, blah the whole time.
You.
Clethodim kill stiltgrass.
I,
Yeah.
I don't even know.
It
If it's a
should.
grass, it should.
Yeah. Clethodim kills
Clethodom's for
grasses.
grass.
It should.
It should, yeah.
Not 100% on that, but yeah. I don't use clethodim, so I don't know, but I would think that it does.
Which, by the way, this is off topic, but I was in Tractor Supply yesterday, and glyphosate is coming way down now.
I saw that. Yeah, the price
Yeah,
on it's coming down.
it's 2.5 gallons was $60.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before all this COVID crap, it was like I was getting it for like 42, $45.
Yeah, I
But
saw it at
it's on
42.
its way down. That's
Yeah.
great.
Heck yeah. Last year, what? It was over
Oh,
$100.
it was over $100 for.
Stupid.
Yeah.
I have a 10-acre property next to a farm with very little cover. What should I do to make my land better? 10-acre property. Is this 10-acre property, Ronald, is it all woods? Or like the 10 acres you own, is it all woods, or is it some woods and you have a little bit of a field? Give us a little bit more information on that. We can help you out.
Boy, if he's got the woods and they got the field, he's got the ideal setup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give us a little more info.
They will come through those woods going to those plots, probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
If it's anything like my destination over here. Yeah, we'll need a little more information there.
You don't have no destination.
In the meantime, they can all get over and subscribe to Win My Knife. I like flicking this thing out. That thing is cool. Look at that. My city sticker knife. Go subscribe.
It's all like brush.
Oh.
I
would brush hog some paths through there, make some lanes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you could brush hog it, like Chris said. I wouldn't brush hog the whole thing.
No.
I would just do certain areas with it. You can plant.
It might be highly desirable brush. If it's greenbrier or berries,
mm-hmm.
That type of thing.
You could brush out a little, whether it's a 2/4 acre plots or like a 1/2 acre plot, you could brush hog an area out for that. You can even plant some cedars or different type of conifers in there, some spruce, to help thicken it up over the next couple of years. But the main thing is getting some food in there, brush hogging down low, get some regeneration on that, and then having carve out a nice little food plot in there. Chris can't plant food plots. You don't know how.
I'm an expert.
He's an expert. All right.
Boom. I love this thing. I think I'm gonna have to get one of these made for me, because I'm giving this one away on my channel.
Perry hopes he wins. Did we get all the questions? I love any Clethodim 10 acre. Yeah, we did. So we'll go for a couple more minutes, guys. If anybody has any last minute questions, fire away, and hopefully we helped you out in this live stream, answer your questions for you. So fire away for the next couple minutes, and yeah, appreciate it. And we wish everybody a Happy New Year.
Now, PA has flintlocks in right now.
Oh, it's in now?
I did not hear one shot today. It's the first Saturday after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You would think all these people were up at camps and things. I thought maybe I'd hear some shooting, but I did not.
Nothing, huh?
No shooting. No.
I got, I think January 5th and 6th, we have a shotgun season here in Maryland. Just 2 days, late season. But unfortunately, I won't be able to go because I will be on the road driving.
Scheduled.
It's consulting, man. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
On the road again.
Just called Mom before I got on here. They're feeling better. My parents both had COVID. They live in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're doing better. They're thinking about having Christmas next weekend.
Having it next weekend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
I said, Mom, I don't know if you guys have had the symptoms gone long enough, or if your house is germ free enough for me to come down there.
Mm-hmm. Don't be scared.
Yeah, well, I'm not so much, but I know the rest of them won't go with me if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be flying solo.
Any more questions, guys? We got about 5 more minutes.
I'm gonna call the hotline and
5 more minutes, and then it's past my bedtime.
prank you past your bedtime.
Yeah, man. I get up early.
No, you don't. Tomorrow's
I'm on.
Sunday.
I'm on the road again.
Tomorrow's Sunday. You ain't on the road.
I'm on the road.
You ain't on the road. Where you going?
Eastern Shore, Maryland.
No, you're not.
Here we go. Sandy. Happy New
Sandy.
Year. Keep up the great work. Post videos of what you are seeing at clients' properties, such as problems and fixes. I will do. Definitely will.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah.
I always ask, like the clients, if I want to bar. I always ask clients, like, hey, can I film this? Or some of them,
Some of them don't want to be on camera.
some of them don't want to be on camera, but sometimes I can get footage of their property, like a certain area on it or something. But sometimes they don't want it posted. Like I stopped posting pretty much buck pictures, trail camera pictures. Me and Chris went through some dreaded stuff at the old farm where neighbors were finding our YouTube channel, and they were finding bucks that we were posting, and it's very yeah, I kind of keep it to myself now. But
Yep.
some clients just they don't want to be they don't want
I don't
stuff
post
posted.
shooters.
Mm-mm.
Nope. Not until after they're killed or somebody else kills them or they get hit by a car.
What's your opinion on ATV implements? Do you think they are all really too hard on the ATV? I've been using a walk behind tiller and it's hard on me. Yeah. I've had a lot of ATV implements, man. What was that one I gave you? The disc.
Black boar.
Black boar. So
And I still use it.
Yeah. I've had the black boar implements. That I think is good, but it doesn't have any weight to it. The whole thing with a disc is you need weight. The absolute best disc is the Ferminator, but it will tear you up. It'll tear you up. It'll tear your four-wheeler up.
Yeah.
But it is a monster. There's nothing better.
It's 880 pounds to drag behind your four-wheeler.
Yeah.
And they recommend nothing smaller than a 500cc.
Right. And my four-wheeler is 800.
And
it wears it out.
We still tore that
it wears
hitch
it out. off.
And we had to bring it back to my place, and I had to weld it all back together.
Yeah, ATV implements are good, but they're just so limited because there's a weight. You've got to have weight on discs. We started out when I started making food plots, I was using a hand tiller, and then I moved to a what was the other one we used? Groundhog Max.
Groundhog.
That is good because you're using the weight of the four-wheeler, but you have to support your hitch. And it's time consuming. Like you have to go over and over and over and over. Yeah. Good on small things.
And the ground should be moist when you use that.
Isn't that what Jet used when he planted his food plot?
Yeah, he had me come up and hog it for him.
Yeah, so I mean there's always ways to do it. But yeah, some of them are good, some are bad. The absolute best is the Ferminator, but trying to load that thing by yourself, and I did it for years, and it's tough. It's so hard.
It's heavy. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just going to elaborate a little bit. I did figure out how to use the black boar though. I mean, I had to do some engineering, and I figured out how I can use it. So it does work in a sense that if you have the electronic actuated,
it's a hydraulic arm.
Yeah, that forces it. It has down pressure, and I had to bottom out my suspension and lock it down with either a ratchet strap or compress it and suck it down tight so that when you put the down, when you put the discs down, that you're using the weight of the bike instead of having no weight on a set of discs.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it does work pretty decent, but it's not like something you're going to go out and do 2 acres of field with either.
Hmm.
It's good for like kill plots and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I used it. You know what I use it for the most is planting my screening. When I
Hmm.
want to make an 8 or 10 foot wide swath and plant
Right.
my screening,
Right.
it works good for running back and forth straight because it's not very good at turning. Those
Hmm.
discs are so narrow.
Well,
When
you
you
should
try to
lift it up when
turn,
you
it just
turn.
yeah, it's not good for turning, but
Yeah.
it's great for straight shots like planting screening. I love using the blackboard for that.
Hmm. Jerry wants to know the best mineral antler biller to put out now. Um, I'm not really much on minerals. Domain makes a good one. Um, but I think minerals that you dump on the ground are limited to what they can do. Is it going to hurt? No, it's not going to hurt. Is it going to do something? Well, it may. But I think the biggest thing you can do to help is to have a legit food plot and habitat program. Nothing beats green and growing plants and a nice manicured uh, timber. Have cuttings, regeneration. Deer get minerals through food. I think if you want to dump something in the ground, such as a mineral, it could do something, but it's one of them things, just like anything else, that you have to put it out year round, year after year after year after year. Um, and then even then, it may do something, but check out what Domain has. They got blocks and they got mineral and feed and all kinds of stuff. But I think it would be more beneficial to focus on a habitat program. And I have a lot of videos on my channel on how to actually create that program.
It's definitely more natural to have them eat something nutritious as
Hmm.
long as your soil is amended and you've got the right nutrition coming from the dirt to the plant, and then the animal eats that nutrition, and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
the higher your soil, the more the better. But I will say this, even if you have poor soil and you plant a food plot in it, they're still going to get more nutrition from that poor soil food plot than they will from a mineral lick. So because the whole thing is with that is when you dump mineral on the ground, I mean, yeah, that it's pure mineral, but it's in a form it's in a form that most likely the deer can't digest and utilize a lot. It's kind of like when humans take supplements, like if we take like vitamin D, in the wintertime because we're not getting sunshine, that vitamin D has to be taken with fat. If it's not taken with a fat source, the vitamin D is less absorbed in your body. So when when deer get nutrition from plants, it's in the full form as nature intended. You have the proteins, you have the micronutrients, you have all these different types of cofactors all built into that plant to where the deer can physically absorb those nutrients. When it's just mineral, who knows if it can actually be absorbed in the deer's body or not. So there's so many limitations to that.
Well, anything in excess is excreted, so it's going to be worked through the kidneys and the liver and right on to the rumen, and it'll probably be going out the rear end.
Mm-hmm.
If
Well,
it's
like
not
that's
if
what I was
it's not
saying. If it's
being
in
if
a
it's not being used, it's excreted.
right, if it's
You know?
coming from actual food,
Right.
everything's in that food built together.
Anything green is going to be used.
Right. There's so many other nutrients in there
It's just a
that can,
safer bet.
yeah,
You're
100%.
just trying to be nice and say it's safer for someone to use their food plots to feed them rather than to dump
Hmm.
mineral.
Yeah.
I
Is it going to
mean,
hurt?
you're
No, it's not going to hurt.
no, it might hurt your pocketbook after a while. I don't know. Of course,
Hmm.
plots aren't cheap either, but
Right.
you know,
Best bang for the buck plots.
yes,
I have trails in the brush. Do you think that is good? Then I just put in food plots. Yeah. I mean,
I love trails
um,
in the brush.
Yeah, have trails in there because those trails will regenerate, and it allows more, flow through your property and easier maneuverability through the deer or with the
Yeah.
deer.
You can flow, they can flow.
Yep. But those
Least resistance.
food plots for sure, man. Food plots are king, in the fall and winter. But I think food plots need to be involved with an actual habitat program. Have good regeneration, uh, some thick areas, hinge cut areas, whatever TSI, whatever it is, but have everything kind of work together, and not solely rely on food plots alone. Because I actually have a video that I just posted about that like 2 weeks ago about food plots that hunters only rely on food plots, and it's a mistake. But food plots are very powerful.
What is the
What is the
best
best seed to plant for a food plot? No
as in
idea.
as in
Because
company or blend?
right, he's asking. Probably he wants to know whether clover, brassicas, but there's so much stuff out there. I mean, you're in ag country, big wood settings. How big's the food plot? How many deer you have per square mile? What kind of soil you have? Are you planting in the fall, the winter? I mean, who knows? I mean, it could be. There's so many options, and we need way more info to be able to answer that question.
I'm liking this next one.
We'll let you answer that because you're
You
the bear hunter.
see that one back there? Woo! Oh yeah, I love bears.
Answer
The
it. Hook
bear
Sandy up.
population, yeah, the bear population at Adirondacks has exploded. Sandy, I was just there in the town of Inlet, the upper Adirondacks there, and the food was gone. So unfortunately, I did not see that exploded version that you're talking about. The beach and the cherry was gone, but I believe what you're saying. I know there's years that
Oh,
that it has exploded,
hold
and I
on,
see that
hold on one second.
our deer population has expanded here. Answer that, Dave.
Hello, you are live. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, am I calling into the podcast on YouTube?
Yes, you are.
Okay, my question is, I'm in southeast Minnesota. I'm going to turn you down here and off the TV. My question is, I've got 40 acres, and I planted a food plot. I've had property for about 5 years. I planted a food plot for the first time this year with power greens, and brassica. Purchased it through a guy that's got a YouTube. He's in southeast Minnesota, and I don't want to mention names, but Wisconsin. Very successful. I had a couple of turnips that were probably 8 to 10 inches around. I had in the greens, I had I think it's tillage radish that were 10, 11 inches tall. I tried to plant switchgrass. The problem or the question I wanted to really ask you guys is, I know I need screening because you can see from the higher point of a gravel road, the back corner is where I put it, on the bordering the neighbor's property, which is all ag. And they've got alfalfa planted on 2 corners. We've got property that comes off of gravel and then goes like a big L shape backwards, and so there's alfalfa on 2 sides of the property, and there's no hunting on those ends.
Mhm.
And my question is how much will that alfalfa, because I did not have much for any deer activity all this fall. I don't bow hunt, I just shotgun and muzzleload hunt.
Mhm.
And I did not have deer come into the property during the day. I did get some night video or activity a couple of times, but they weren't even coming into the plot at night.
Okay.
So my question is, I think I need more screening because when you come over that hill, you can see the back corner of the top.
Mm-hmm.
I planted switchgrass, which failed because I planted it too late. So my question is, a couple questions, is screening, anything you recommend outside of switchgrass? Like I've seen some hybrid willow recommended or suggested that grows fast. And also, how much would that alfalfa really hurt me as far as the deer wanting to go more to the alfalfa as opposed to the food plot?
So you're saying the alfalfa is on a neighbor's property?
Yeah, the alfalfa is a farmer next door.
Okay. Yeah. So a couple things like it for screening wise. Have you heard of miscanthus grass?
I have heard of that.
Okay. Miscanthus is
The reason I haven't really looked into that is because I've seen that it's it's a little more expensive.
it is expensive. It's probably your best bet though, because it's very thick and it once you plant it, you're done for. And it in 3 years you got a 10, 12, 13, 14 foot tall screen that you just can't see through. I really don't like switchgrass for screening. One, I don't think it gets really tall enough, and you kind of have to plant it 2, 3 times wider than what you really think to get a screen.
Yeah.
Any kind of spruce or cedar will be good for screening. The alfalfa, that's good for early season, but usually once you get a frost in there, it's going to tend to not be palatable enough, and they're probably going to lose attraction to it.
Yeah.
If the deer are only hitting your food plots at nighttime, typically 2 things that stand out. One is that the deer aren't really bedding close to that food, and by the time they get to your food plot, it's dark. Or 2, there's a lot of hunting pressure around there. Whether I'm not saying it's from you, but just in general, if there's pressure coming from neighbors, or or you're putting too much pressure on the food plot itself, that will turn that food plot nocturnal very, very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. As I mentioned, I don't bow hunt, so we really try to. I'm 60 years old. I've learned a little bit more over that as far as getting focused since I bought property. Used to hunt in Ohio State, where you just march in and you'll find a place to hunt and you do your thing. I have, since we purchased the property, hunted it from the outside in. I actually have access from 2 different roads. I have a minimum maintenance road that goes in on the north side and one that runs north and south on the east side of the property. So we actually do not go in through the property when we access. We've got stands that access right off the road. I've got on the north side a hillside that goes up, and it's got a big rock face. We climb up behind that rock right into a stand, and we only hunt when it's appropriate for wind direction. So and early in the fall, I get some really nice buck pictures in there on the top. And the back corner, there's a lot of there's an open corner up in there, and it's got taller grasses and raspberry bushes, that sort of thing. So I know they're in there in the fall. I get some really nice pictures there in the fall. But I'm wondering, maybe that's a question I can ask you: how much pressure on a 30-acre parcel, even though I'm way on the south end of the property? How much can you affect the deer that are bedding on your property? Can you overpressure even trying to get the food plot in?
Yes, you can. I mean, if they see you coming and going, especially if you're dressed in your camo, you got your weapons and all that stuff, they really associate that. So if you're bumping them out when you're going to your plot, I mean, the does and stuff may be able to take it, just say 4, 5, 6 times. But if you're bumping a buck out 1 or 2 times, he's gone. And most likely he's only going to hit that food plot at nighttime. How many acres are you talking? Like, do you have?
We've got approximately 32 acres.
32 acres. Okay. So most likely, I mean, deer aren't necessarily living there on 32 acres. They're going to pass through. But if you have that food positioned where, say you go and shoot your woods and you can thicken it up, whether you cut trees, I don't know if you need a forester in there or whatever, but if you have a lot of thick stuff in there and you physically get some deer to bed in there, they should start to use your food plot more often. But if you're bumping bucks out, I mean, they're only going to do it once or twice and they're gone. So you have to be very leery on that. I think the hunting pressure thing is we don't take it, we underestimate them, like the bucks, like does, you could bump them things out and they're just going to come right back, especially if you have good food there, they're going to come right back. But those bucks, man, if you're bumping them out, they're not coming back, or they're just going to come back at nighttime.
Yeah. No, I planted July 1st. I got lucky. Like I've heard other guys that it was complete failure because of the drought this year. Mm-hmm. I planted the 1st of August. I knew that I had to get the seed because they were talking about very little rain. I was lucky enough to get the seed in the ground August 1st, and I got enough rain where, like I said, I had great bulbs on the radish and the purple turnip. So I pretty much, from that point on, once that plot, the only time I went in there was when the wind was appropriate to go in and check and pull some SD cards out. Other than that, I did not go into the back property all fall until November 4th or 5th, whatever shotgun season started this year. So you're telling me that just going in there in the beginning of August, and I did go in there once or twice and spread some rye in the plot itself to kind of help beef it up a little bit. But other than that, I stayed out of the property. So like I said, I get the bucks like early September cell camera in the back corner. I got really nice bucks in velvet. There's like once they get hard horned, they're gone. Mm-hmm. And they never really, I like I said, I have to be honest, I had a few bucks come in the plot on the cell camera, but I also noticed, and I mentioned Brand, just for our cell camera, we went up there, me and the grandson, and we could actually hear the camera clicking in that back corner of where the food plot borders the neighbors. How much is that going to affect? I had one buck where he literally was looking right at the camera.
Yeah. So we answered a question earlier in the podcast about that, or live stream. I've probably ran every brand of cell cam you can think of, and the cell cams, they do click. So the deer, when they hear that click, they're going to look at it and they see that it's not good either. So if you hang that higher, Chris uses a system where he can mount his cameras up 10, 15 feet tall with a pole. I typically use like a stick, like a 3 or 4 foot stick section. He uses Spy High. I use a 3-4 foot stick section where I'll put that on the tree and I'll mount that camera up higher and angle it down. But if the deer, it's a combination of things, every property, if you have velvet bucks on your property and they become a different animal. So a lot of some leave, some stay. But it's a combination of all that put together. Where's the food at? What's palatable at that time of year? What's on your neighbors? What are your neighbors doing? You have cell cams everywhere. They're looking at the cameras, and all that. So it's tough to answer without being there and physically seeing what somebody's doing. But that's the kind of the gist of it.
Yeah. Okay. So I know it's getting late out there where you guys are at, so I'll just kind of sum it up here or finish it up with you guys. So you're recommending cedar as far as screening, or McCampus grass is your best recommendations, and maybe avoid. You don't think that the switchgrass gets tall enough?
It depends. Like if it's on a hillside, maybe, and the road or whatever's up higher, or the road's down lower where you're planting it at. But just plan on switch getting, say, 6 feet tall. And if you do plan it for a screen, you have to plan it like at least, I'd say, 10 to 15 feet wide for it to be appreciable. But even then, you're in an area that probably gets a lot of snow, so that switch, it snows, it's going to fall down. If you have miscanthus grass, it's not falling down. It when it grows and it's up, it's never falling down. So it's literally a permanent screen.
You know, how long does that will that last? Numerous years or a number of years before you have to replant? Or
no, once you plant it, it's done. You're good. You never have to replant it ever again.
Okay. Okay. And is there anything as far as maintenance with it? Does the guy mow it every so often, or?
No, when them things grow, you wouldn't be able to mow it because they grow like bamboo. So every, I don't know, 5 years, some people like to burn them, but I don't think you really have to, as long as you do your maintenance right with prepping the soil and all that, taking care of the weeds and all that. If you plant that stuff, man, it's so thick you can't see through it. Deer can't pass through it, and it's literally a permanent screen.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll definitely take that into consideration. And I appreciate you guys' time. I'm not even sure I haven't really followed you guys. I just came across you tonight. I know I came across some videos as far as straightforward, and I really like the no BS approach as far as, hey, this is the way it is. So again, definitely take your recommendations in mind and great consideration. And you guys have a good night. I'll let you go.
Okay, thanks. Happy New
See
Year.
you, bud. Happy New Year.
Appreciate you calling, and any questions, let us know.
Yeah, will do. Thank you so much.
All right, no problem.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay.
What you want to finish Sandy's
Yeah,
question?
I want to finish with Sandy if she's still on.
Sorry, Sandy.
Yeah, we had to answer that. But yeah, I was in the Adirondacks bear hunting and the food was gone, so that was not a good thing for me this year. But as far as the bears getting fawns in the spring like coyotes and other predators, it definitely happens. Yeah, the spring the bears come out and they're in all the same areas that the doe are in dropping fawns. So
We got another caller.
they're getting them too.
Another caller.
Go ahead, I'm done.
Yes, sir. You were live.
Yeah, this is. I just want to know y'all's opinion on planting food plots in the Ozarks.
Okay. How many acres you got?
We got 350 acres, but it's more so. It's not. It's not ag. I mean, it's true Ozarks. Horrible soil. Then we don't have soil. We have rocks.
Right. Yeah. So in rocky situations, obviously you're probably not going to be able to disc very much. So I would do plantings of like winter wheat and winter rye, and maybe a little bit of clover to kind of build up that organic matter and the top portion of that soil. And maybe out there you might want to invest into like a no-till drill in those rocky situations. A lot of times you can rent one from your wildlife agency. You can rent them and plant it, and I think a lot of times too they'll actually plant it for you. So wheat and rye would be good. Constant rotations of that each year, spring, summer, maybe a little clover. That's going to be your best bet to kind of build up that rocky situation.
With the I was just talking about the screening. What is the
Miscanthus?
It's not switchgrass.
Miscanthus?
Yes. Will that grow in rocky soil?
Yes, as long as you prep it properly.
Depends
how rocky it actually is, but yes, it will grow.
Okay. All right, man. Thank y'all.
All right, no problem.
So Ronaldo the goat, if he's still on there, he wants to know if we have videos on food plots and what to plant. And sure we do.
Where are you at?
You're on it.
Oh.
We combined, we have over 1,000 videos out there. And for 3 years, Dave and I worked together on a piece of property, and we made hundreds of videos, step-by-step things. And in the last year or two, we've been doing sort of solo acts here, where he does his thing on a piece in southern PA, and I'm in northern PA. So we still do step-by-step type videos for you, and they're educational. especially if you've never done things before. We break it down on a low level so that people can understand. We don't talk over top of anybody. It's easy to understand, and I think it's for everybody.
Except when I talk over you.
Yeah, whatever. So that the phone conversations are hard for me to hear, Dave.
Oh, you can't hear him?
Are you struggling? No, I can hear them, but they're so like their
No.
is on the microphone, like screaming into it or something. It's so fuzzy.
Nah, I hear it pretty. I can adjust the volume or something, maybe.
Okay, yeah,
Like if somebody
it's
else calls.
I'm having a hard time.
You're deaf. Have you used a soil conditioner such as Main Dirty D's? Did you notice positive results? Heck yeah, man. That stuff stinks,
I
but
used it.
it
I
works.
Yep.
I used it in the spring. I did use it in the spring. I used it and I actually sprayed it twice. But yeah, I mean, I think it did. I think it worked. I had amazing clover.
I sprayed mine late summer for my fall
Mm.
plot,
Mm-hmm.
and according to what Domain tells us, it's good in dry conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It helps hold moisture
Yeah.
and things. So maybe that was a good thing that I did spray it then, because we went into that drought situation and my stuff kept growing.
Well, we just had Mike on the podcast and we did talk about that a little
Mhm.
bit. So you can kind of refer back to that. But as of right now, I'm both of us are kind of new to that
Yeah,
soil
last year's the first
conditioner.
time we sprayed it.
We're basically going by what he's telling us. And I trust Mike, but we both did use it. I plan on obviously using it in the
Yeah,
spring and summer this year.
I'll have it this year
And
too.
I'm getting it a couple new properties, so I may do like spray one side, don't spray the other. But yeah, so far I liked it, but that stuff stinks.
Hmm.
Stinks like
Yeah.
moldy, rotten seaweed. But we'll see. But yeah, we definitely use it.
Mhm.
When hunting today, saw a flock of turkeys and 3 doe, no bucks. Bucks this time of year are scarce.
Tough break.
They're spooked. There's hard food. It's hard to find food. So they're just laying low. But if you have a good food source, man, them bucks will be in there.
Yeah, they've been chased around.
I still got cell cams out on public land, and man, like the past week, things kind of shifted, and the bucks are back on their feet.
Yeah.
And like I said, I got this video coming out Monday on some public land bucks that I did some scouting missions on, and man,
I'll probably pull some cards tomorrow.
I got some places to hunt next year for some bucks. I'm tapped out. I think we're gonna log off here. I appreciate everybody tuning in.
I had a phone call I got to get back to.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. We're gonna do this, like I said, we're gonna do this once a month. Phone call or your comments will help you out. So next month we'll send out a notification. Probably toward the end of January we'll do it again. Happy New Year to everybody. Be safe. And our podcast comes out every Sunday at 5 p.m. So we got another one coming out. And subscribe to our channels. Get a knife. And
subscribe.
Yeah, we appreciate your support. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.
Later.